Hello everyone, so today I'm going to be teaching you how to do a DIY kind of Halloween prop. There's two that I've done already. Today's video is going to focus on this bat tutorial that I did. You'll see him a little bit better. This lighting is kind of weird. A similar DIY prop that this video isn't really about, but it's this fairy corpse that I absolutely love. So this is a little bit of a smaller prop versus this one, which is a little bit of a bigger prop, as you can see. And yeah, there's a lot of steps to go with it, but it's really just easy beginner type level that makes it look pretty realistic. I have it hanging from this tree actually right behind me, and you'll be able to see those kind of photos. So this little guy I got at Dollar General for, you guessed it, $1. He also comes with an unhingeable jaw. The rest of him is pretty stable. I just went in with some black acrylic paint and filled in any of the cracks, crevices, and indented parts that are already in his bone structure. I also made this decomposing fairy in a very similar fashion to what we'll be doing with our bat. The decomposing bones is a mixture of acrylic paints, and the skin is made out of a mixture of hot glue, saran wrap, and latex. I'm going to be doing the same thing to this wing on this side here and close this because it's freaking me out. Next, we're going to go into his rib cage with some black just to accentuate the sunken in structure of his bones. This doesn't have to be anything strategic, it can be a little messy since we're going to be covering it up. Boop, boop. Now, I really don't think bats have this much bones in their ears, but we're going to be filling it in anyway just to accentuate that it is a bat, and then we're going to be filling in all the crevices on the skull just as we did on the wings. Going in with some burnt umber and yellow ochre, we're going to be putting down the first base coat for the bat's skeleton to make it look a little less new and more like it's decomposing. After the front is painted and dried, we can then go ahead and flip him over. I found this new strategy where I just kind of dot all around and then smear it to create that light base color that we're looking for. Also, I maybe kind of forgot that we were supposed to go in with black acrylic paint first and fill in little crevices, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quick and then get back to you guys. Alright, let's go back in and finish the base coat. Do the same thing to the other wing as you did this one, and then we're also going to color in the legs. The next step is to pour out some latex, coat it evenly on the table or surface you're using, and then when it's dry, go ahead and powder it so it doesn't stick together when you try to peel it off. Go ahead and peel up your latex. Oh my gosh, guys, I love this part. It's so satisfying. Be very careful not to pull too hard or be too rough with it around the thinner parts and the edges. Otherwise, it could have the potential to tear. Oh, look how satisfying this is. Yes! Go ahead and grab your little bat guy again just to make sure that the length of the latex is going to be big enough to wrap around the wingspan of the bat. I also like making little points and marking where I'm going to cut. next few steps kind of come together. We're going to wrap the edges of the wings around the bones and also cut out the final shape of the wings that we want. But before we do that, I personally like to glue it down on the back of it just so we have a stabilization method so it doesn't move around on us when we're cutting the final shape of the wings. To do this, we're just going to take our hot glue gun, and once you have the glue on the underside of the bat's bones, go ahead and press them down and really take your time with this. It can be a little bit time consuming, but it'll be worth it not to have the bones pop up on you when you're trying to cut. Next, go ahead and cut out the wings how you want them. It doesn't have to be any specific shape, just what you prefer. With this wing for now, I'm just going to cut the general shape and worry about cutting the rest of it later. Next, we're going to go in with the hot glue gun and get rid of these stringy things. You gotta love those. We're just going to hot glue over the bones. Make sure you blend it into the base of the wing so it doesn't end up looking like, well, hot glue. This is 1 for more structure, and 2 just to give it that extra decomposing element. Next, we're just going to flip him over and add more structure to the back of him by just adding hot glue along his spine. Next, you'll need saran wrap because we're going to saran wrap the wings just for that wing kind of texture. I don't know what to call it. I really like using hot glue for this. I feel like it's the best and easiest tool because you don't actually need to use any of the hot glue to adhese the latex and saran wrap and bone together because the heat of it is enough to make the saran wrap stick. So it's just very, very easy. For the backs of them, however, I do hot glue the saran wrap down just where the bones are. It kind of just brings out the bones. You don't really need to do this step, but if you want a cool texture to the back, I recommend it. Cut off any excess, but keep in mind that you can still fold it over to the front and it'll still look natural if you have a little bit of extra. Also, any strings that you have that are hot glue or any strings of latex actually end up looking really cool towards the final product because it just adds that falling skin decomposing gruesomeness. This is a good example right here. As you can see, I'm not using any hot glue at all. I'm just kind of lightly touching the hot tip of the hot glue gun to the latex, and the saran wrap is just kind of melting to it. It's also very satisfying. And this is what it should look like when you have it all saran wrapped. And the only thing we have left to do is to paint it. Next, we're going to begin to smear some of the paint on the wings. You want a very, very thin layer though, because you want the wings to come out as transparent as they possibly can. So we're going to go in with some yellow ochre and just kind of dot around the wing in random places. I'll bring you guys in closer so you can see a bit more. Again, just random places and then just blend it in. I really like putting a little bit more yellow surrounding what might be some holes in the wings from hot gluing so much, or maybe there's some tears. We're actually going to put in more holes in the wings, and I'll show you guys how to do that in just a second. But yes, putting more yellow and other kind of colors around the holes in the wings will give it that extra decaying factor. Next, we're just going to go in with our hot glue gun and just lightly, kind of like how we did the edges, just lightly hold the tip of the hot glue gun to the wings, and that way it'll create holes. Next, we're going to go in with some black and just kind of outline your little creature. This just kind of creates the weathering effect and just the wearing away, wasting away type feel. Next, we're just going to be taking some saran wrap. We're going to be tearing it into multiple different sized shapes and pieces. Then we'll just go in with our hot glue gun and glue it down. Make sure that you get that wrinkly texture, and you can do that by just touching the hot tip of the hot glue gun to create the holes, much like we did with the wings. And you really can just do this as much or as little as you please, whatever works best for you. Next, we'll go in with some green tone and also some more yellow ochre just to make the skin stand out a little bit more from the bones. Also, we're going to be adding some white acrylic paint just to make the skin pop out a little bit more, and then going back over it with the yellow ochre again. Then of course just do the same thing to the back, and I think we'll be done with this. Enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you make your little bat project along to this video, and if you do, be sure to send me your projects or even the fairy corpse, any other DIY Halloween crafts that you made. Be sure to send me them via direct messenger on Instagram, because I would love to see them or gain more ideas from people. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Neighbors are totally watching me do this. Bye guys.